And we are live, and welcome to the new season of Robbers Catan, Season 3. We got some new
Everyone.
players, some returning players, some new updated IO in colonist.io, and we are getting right into it here with a pretty nice rematch of a couple former champions, a league manager, and one of the illustrious corn fiends.
Finalists, I think, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so, for those of you that, unfortunately, we don't have the people's names in Colonus.io are not exactly the same names they have in real life. I know we don't have anyone in the league named Bibble, unfortunately.
I think everyone is right but Sai, who's Natala, the orange one.
Yeah, so Sai is Natala, Audrey Cornfiend is Brickstealer, Anish is AK Sonder, and Bibble is Claire Sue. Claire Sue, who was the Season 2 champion, and so Sai was the Season 1 champion.
And I think Audrey was arguably the best corn fiend.
Yeah, of the three that made it all the way to the quarterfinals.
And they were all in the playoffs,
Yeah.
right? The corn fiends, they're good.
Yeah, does Catan run in the blood, do we think?
I think so. They must play each other to practice.
Yeah. Well, all right, for selection, Audrey had first selection. She picked that 8-5-10 spot. You can't fault it, looking at the board, there's no 6-5-9, which is usually considered like the best. Sorry, you're upside down.
Yeah, my phone camera is weird.
Yeah, so no 6-5-9 OP spot, 8-5-10 second best spot in the game just in terms of raw production and good variety there too with 3 different resources. So it seems like a bit of a no-brainer for her to pick. And we got we do,
Claire's
however,
following up with
yeah,
a strong or spot.
yeah, it's weird because actually, yeah, right, it's no 6-5-9, but there actually is a 6-5-9 there. Very interesting that Audrey gave up having more raw resource production for a bit better variety. Claire here, she's gonna be getting so much ore, especially too. Outside that 6-5-9, there's only other one ore block, which is an 11, and
Right.
going on that 6-5-9 too, you can't go the 6-12-9 spot. So like it looks like Claire might be setting herself up in a position where she's gonna have almost not maybe not monopoly, but a near monopoly over the ore production.
If I were to guess, I would have guessed Claire went there for the orb port, right? That's got to be her next move.
No, and that'd be a
Otherwise,
great
she'll be
move. That massive ore production, which just straight up is good in general to have, especially she can trade it away. Or if she doesn't want to trade it away to people, a 9-10 port is a very nice port for a 2-for-1 for ore, which she's gonna gain a lot of. The biggest risk for her is maybe just being too exposed to the robber, which honestly is a good problem to have, to just be just be robbed constantly, because it usually means that you're in a very good spot.
Although Sai follows up with a really good 8-3-4 placement. There's not many sheeps in the. I mean, there's a few good sheep tiles, but for Claire to have a strong game, I think she needed that spot, and Sai swoops in at the last minute there.
Yeah, and and it's a little interesting here too. Size placement. We can start kind of talking about the road placement when you put down your first few settlements.
Yeah, leading inwards.
Yeah, and I can see what he's doing here a bit. Like he's looking. He can go down to the 8-5-10 spot. I however have a feeling that the 8-5-10 spot won't be available after
Right, at least you might put
the
it right there.
selections. Yeah,
Right,
there we
you
go. Yeah, and so we see he could be going in for that 3-11-10 spot, which is possible. But however, someone could take that 6-3-11 spot, in which case that road there for Sai is kind of just a dead road.
Right.
Yeah,
If
it's
he can
always risky putting those
salvage
roads
the
inward.
3-11-10, then it could work out, but that could be taken too, because that's a strong.
Yeah,
Um, Someone might actually settle on the 6-11-3, and
I'm thinking
then
the
it's
same
hard to
thing.
remember.
Like, that and the 6-11-12 spot are the only other spots that have good ore production. And we see every other road that's been played so far has been pointing outward. It's just the risk of pointing inward.
There you
All right,
go.
so here we see Sai snatching on that 9-10 load spot. Very interesting. Yeah, if he can go for that 6-3-11 spot, if no one picks it, he could get a really nice trio production there. And we see he's playing that spot to go up probably towards that 5-11-4 spot, which is a great spot if no one picks it. These last two spots. If someone does pick it, then you can go down to the 9-4 brick.
That's a good idea, because I don't think red or blue would pick that spot, because they've already settled on the 5.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely possible. Just in terms of, at this point, you're looking for production. It's also really nice to. That's a good spot to go on here too, because it's worth noting. your last settlement, you get the 3 resources or 2 if you're only 2 blocks that your last resource is on. So right there, if you're putting it right there, there you go. That's a
There
free
it is.
road. You have a brick and all right. So all right, this is actually a
So
really nice play for Claire. I think it's really great because she not only gets good production there, but she gets an immediate road which she can use to go up to her port, or she can actually use to cut off Sai right here. Sai is looking at the point where that second road he plays is going to be useless, because if Claire just uses her immediate road to cut him off and go down 9-4 break, which I have a feeling she'll do, that's huge. You know, not only facing competition at spot, and as I said, Sai just wasted the road placement there.
Yeah, what I think happened here is I think Claire cut Sai off with the free road so that she can settle on the 9-4. But Audrey really, she could block Claire by settling on the 9-6 desert there, which would invalidate Claire's whole game, because if she doesn't have access to wheat, she's done.
Yeah, and because like 9-6, like that's definitely a bit, you that's a very good insight, because typically you would look at just go for the two, get the 2 also more resources, but by moving over a two is not really, you're not really sacrificing a lot of resources by foregoing the 2 to sit on the desert, and you do perform some massive blockage.
Right.
However, it's hard to get the wheat port if you settle on that 9-6 though.
Absolutely, yeah. It takes an extra road, but I would still, if that was me, if I was blue, I would totally do that.
Yeah, yeah. Like you sacrifice a little bit, but you end up hurting not only just Claire, who's a really good player, but Sai theoretically if Claire doesn't choose to make that play. But we do see she goes for kind of the almost safe play, I think you could say, of going and gain that 2, and then she can go and build towards that wheat port and start exchanging wheat. It's a little bit less of a I want to mess my opponents up, a little bit more of a okay, I just want to go for the win myself. But looking at it, I mean, Claire has that nice ability to go to that 9-4 spot right away. Assuming she can get settlement, that'd be a great play for her. And she also, in the top left, like no one else is on that 6 ore or that 9 ore. Not gonna be a ton of ore production, except for if 11s get rolled a lot. Looking at them and like looking at I think the player right here.
Spot, actually.
Yeah, the player right now that I probably have the most worry about is Anish, actually. His entry spots are good, but he doesn't seem to have a lot of expansion opportunity at both of his spots. True.
And as we see Claire build that road cutting side directly off.
Yeah, that's some league champion level foresight coming out there from Claire.
Oh yeah. No,
yeah, the only problem for Claire right now is no wheat. Not on a single wheat spot. She does have a ton of ore production. And so if she can get, if it's one of the things where if Claire can quickly put a settlement on that 9-4 brick and wheat spot, and go up to that ore port quickly, if she can get those 2 settlements, she's in such a strong position. But the biggest thing right now is going to be for her to trade for wheat.
Yeah, if I was in this game, I would not trade with her early on, because if she gets that settlement down, she's got a strong start to this game.
Yeah, and ore in the beginning of the game, unless she has tons of it, isn't going to be helpful. Yeah, I mean, unlike Mavestone's trying to go for a city, but it's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out.
Absolutely. Let's hope that Audrey has a plan in mind, choosing not to cut Claire off with the alternate wheat settlement. Let's see if she can get to her wheat port.
And this is a really funny moment if you're looking at the trade log here. We can see Anish is currently at 8 resources. Got a little bit lucky with a couple rolls going 2 8s getting rolled early. He's trying to trade 3 resources for a single tree, including 2 wheat, which I'm sure Claire would love. But Claire, as we know, used her only tree timber to build that road. And so we see Anish just going for the road here. I mean, it's one of those things where so as you can see, like Anish's best opportunity here for expansion is that 8 sheep port, which I think it's like gain more wheats, of course, great. Maybe that 8 will be exposed to a lot of robbers later, but he does have good sheep production from his 8-5, both sheep. But Anish is in the kind of circumstance already where he can't really go for any blocks or any spots where he has 2 or 3 tile access.
Absolutely, yeah, and we see that his only way to win is he's gonna have to port his sheep for ore, right? So I think that's a good move from Anish.
Yeah. All right, and yeah, we
That's
see
how cool.
Audrey using her churn to churn in 4 wheat for a single break. Wheat is just flying all over the place right now.
Oh yeah, wheat is not scarce at all.
Yeah, which for Claire could be really beneficial. You know, like if a lot of our players have surpluses of wheat, they might be more willing to trade her that desperately needed wheat.
Oh, also, I think Anish shouted us out, said to send the Twitch link if in the Discord if we can.
Yeah, so I believe we did send the Twitch link in the announcements, but it's not linked properly. Let me try to post it again.
Also, on that note, Claire built yet another road towards her ore port, which is, I think, a strong move. Because nobody seems to be challenging her at the 9-4 spot to settle, so I think she was safe and comfortable to build towards the other port.
Oh, well.
Let's see. Yeah, so that 5 was a big roll as well. It helped Claire and Anish out, as well as Audrey a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, dude, yeah, that you know, we saw them both trying to get some timber earlier, and boom, just, you know, dude, Claire right here with 4 timber in hand. That's all she has, and I'm thinking if I'm her, I might try to trade away that timber. But honestly, if I'm her doing a 4-for-1 for wheat, not a bad idea, I think.
Interesting though that Anish he's the first one with the 3rd settlement.
Yeah, he definitely got some good rolls on, and that settlement is huge for him.
That's huge.
You know, he needed that settlement. I can't emphasize this enough. And so, you know, and we can see that, you know, he definitely got a little bit of leeway in the fact where Audrey wasn't really angling to build a settlement there first. You know, she's going for that wheat port first. But now Anish is in the position where not only does he generate a lot more resources, but, you know, he's definitely giving in the circumstance where he needs to kind of city up. You know, he maybe has one other settlement possibility, you know, on that 3-for-1 sheep port maybe. But after that, he doesn't really have great settlement opportunities. And those settlement opportunities themselves aren't especially great. They're pretty good. Like I said, he's only on 1 tile each with those. But if he can get a city early, which that port would definitely help him get that needed ore, it could be huge. Or he could trade with Claire as a bit of a deal with the devil and trade some wheat for ore, you know? Things
Actually,
that they both need.
I think Anish just traded with Audrey. He got a timber, and I think he just rolled a brick, so he should have a road in hand on his turn.
Yeah.
At the very least.
Yeah, if he gets another early settlement here, that's going to be huge.
That could help it. If he goes towards the 3-1 port, he's got his settlements down, and then he just
yeah, and then every single time he rolls an 8, he gets 2 wheat and any resource he wants, because he'll get 2 sheep, and he has a 2-for-1 sheep port, and he's just gonna be rolling in the 8s. Oh.
If the 8s keep hitting, Anish could turn this game around. He's already off to a strong start.
Yeah, like he definitely was in the circumstance where he needed, you know, some favorable rolls early in the game. He's definitely gotten them, and now he's in a position where, you know, despite him kind of getting a little bit of a short end of the stick with the, you know, the placements, definitely can come back here. Oh, and boom, we have Claire getting that settlement there. Oh man, that's such a backbreaker to look at if you're anyone else in this game. Yeah, not only is Claire, you know, ready to settle on that 9-4 spot, which is a great spot, but now she has even more brick ore production and rolls a 9. That's a wheat, essentially.
Oh yeah. See, I think so far the board is shaping out. Depending on what's rolled more, it could favor a player. Like if 8s are rolled, Anish kind of has this game, but 6s would favor Audrey, and 9s would favor Claire.
And we have the first 7 rolled of the game. So Anish right here choosing to put down that 5. You know, 5. A little bit of an interesting choice. I think it definitely blocks up the most resource production for everyone. But I don't know necessarily how much, you know, like I would be worried about that. I mean, I was gonna say, like, if I was him, I maybe would even think about putting on that 9 ore spot. Because Claire is in such a strong position. We saw her just roll an ore roll 9 right there. She's got 2 ore in hand. That's whatever resource she wants.
I think his idea was to stop Claire from settling by stopping her wood. Yeah. But you have to realize if her 9 is rolled, which it was, she gets a free wood anyways, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's such a tough decision there. You know, like they're both good spots in the sense where they're both really big threats.
Also, we forgot to talk about this, but Sai is currently building over to the 6-11-3, which is, he had a slow start to this game, but I think if he can get there, he'll put himself back into
Yeah,
it.
yeah, and we talked about that a bit earlier about like saying like if no one settles there, it's be a great expansion spot for him. And yeah, uncontested right now, he's able to get that spot, and he's also setting himself up in a way where he definitely had a couple roads that he placed where they aren't really going anywhere, but he could connect those two initial
Longest
roads he
road.
placed to get longest road. It was a bit salvageable, and in 8, whoo, a niche right there,
That
and
helps
some
him a
major
lot.
production.
He can, I think, settle here, maybe. Oh, he needs one more brick. Okay, so I think if he gets that, he could road settle maybe.
Yeah, yeah, he's at 9 cards in hand though, so he's definitely gonna have to do something. And it's
I
worth pointing
definitely
out
don't think
that
anyone's trading with him though.
yeah, it's worth pointing out also that Sai is the proud owner of 2 development cards. No one else has purchased a development card.
That's
Could be
true.
some knights, could be some extra points. Lots of variability right now, but it does give Sai, even though Sai is in the position where he's the only one with, 2 settlements so far, he does have a slight advantage in that area, which could compensate for some of his lack of resource production.
Absolutely, yeah. He he's certainly not in this. If he gets some rolls and gets going, he can bring himself back up.
All right, yeah, Anish laying down that road. It'd be interesting to
Yep.
see if he sits on 7 resources here and kind of dances with the devil a bit, or if he chooses to trade some. It looks like we haven't had necessarily a lot of trades so far. We see Anish looking to trade away wheat for brick. My guess is that gives him a settlement. However, if the other players have been paying attention, it would be pretty obvious. I don't think anyone wants to give Anish a 4th settlement right now.
Exactly. And I think he was even trying to ask for three wheat for a sheep, probably to port that as a brick, and nobody's biting.
Yeah. Yeah, I find it very interesting to see the build up of what 1 wheat, then 2 wheat, then 3 wheat. But
That's too funny.
yeah, it looks like, I mean, I don't know if it's it's at the point where if Anish doesn't have the ability to do a 4 for 1, which I don't think he does, he kind of, if no one it takes a trade for him, he's gonna be forced to be in a position where he's gonna be higher. He's gonna be at 7 at the end of his turn and really exposed if someone rolls a 7. However, if he only really, if a lot of that wheat is, oh, you see, he did have 4
Four
wheat,
to one.
trade for a brick, and there it pays off. He's at the point where he's like, all he
Gets
probably
it
needed
over.
was some wheat, and boom, an 8. Those 8s have been huge for Anish this game.
Oh yeah. In fact, in hindsight, it makes more sense. But if I was Anish, I may have even considered buying a dev card. If he has an ore port for it, and then because he gets the wheat right back next turn.
Yeah, and we see Audrey traded in 4 wheat to basically use all her resources to buy a development card.
It could be worth it. Yeah.
Yeah, especially if you're sitting there at 7 and you don't really have anything else you can do with it, development cards are rarely a bad investment.
Definitely. Yeah. Alrighty. So what's going on here? So currently it's Claire's turn.
Yeah, she
buys
buys
that
them into card, which I'm sure for Claire there, she's definitely hoping to get a soldier, move that robber off a 9, because it's fallacy a bit, but only 1/7 has been rolled this game. It's been sitting on her 9 for quite it's been sitting on her 5, then it was sitting on her 9, and
Hmm.
I think she kind of has to expect this, coming in position with both having a strong position in this game and coming in with the pedigree of being a previous season's champion. She's gonna get hit with the robber. She needs the soldiers to keep it off her spots if she wants to win this game.
Who do you think wins this game? Early prediction.
Ah, man. I mean, as I said, like, I think Claire is a kind of very strong position, but she's going to be robbed
He's getting
so
robbed.
much. And, and it's one of those things where right now I would say, if Anish can keep getting some 8s and he can get that,
He could
if
really win
Anish,
it.
like, Anish is definitely the boomer bust candidate, I think, here. He's going to live and die with the 8s. If the 8s are rolled at a good rate, I think Anish can definitely easily win this game. However, if he doesn't get 8s, he doesn't have a ton of other great production going on.
Oh
You know,
yeah. Especially because Anish's way to win after he settles the last time, he's gotta get ore, right?
he's
And
got
he
to
needs
city up, and he
support
needs
for it.
those 8s to trade
He needs,
in.
exactly. He needs those 8s to port it. And it's not happening.
Yeah, and I mean, looking across the board, Sai's in a position where, if he gets that 11-6-3 spot, he has some really good diversity. Sai will both be on a wide variety of of numbers, but he's also going to be on the resource production for every single kind of resource. So Sai has that kind of breadth, but right now he doesn't have great depth right now. Like, he only has two
Sai's
settlements.
he's really pulled a lot of games and comebacks, so I wouldn't count him out just yet.
Yeah. And moving on to our final contestant here, Audrey. Audrey is she's can be set up quite well. Audrey doesn't have great expansion opportunity. She right out her maybe best settlement option.
Maybe the 10 sheep.
Yeah, that's not a great settlement option though. Audrey's
great,
in a
yeah.
position where, but however, the 3 settlements she does have so far, there's some interesting interactions she has. She has a lot of wheat production. She has 2 for 1
See,
wheat.
Anish putting in a last settlement there.
Yeah, I said and Anish is I would say just averaged everything out. I would say Anish is probably in the strongest position if he can avoid the robber.
As expected, yeah.
He gets hit with the robber immediately though, so especially blocking off that 8. Anish is in a position where if he's not being robbed on his 8s, he rolls an 8. He just creates such a massive production. But now that I think this game is, now that if the robber can stay on Anish, Claire once again that strong position can just really come through.
Oh yeah, and again, not to forget, Sai's on 3 development cards right now, which is, even though he's only at 2 points from what we see, that's still really scary.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably sitting out at least one night. Development cards give you so much. You see him using run right there. Interesting that he's choosing to use one. I guess he's thinking, okay, if I have, maybe he's sitting on 3 nights. He's like, if I have nights, I might as well use them. And the 8 sheep does hurt Anish quite a lot, but it hurts Sai also. It's his. It's the only 8 he's on. He's on 8 6s, and we see him moving out to, Anish's 8 over there. And a 7, so it looks like the robber's gonna be doing a bit of traveling.
I could really see this robber moving to the Claire's 9 maybe, or even the 9 wheat, or not. Sorry, not the 9 wheat. Maybe the 5 wood probably. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, that's also smart. Yeah, with moving the robber there, so Sai decides to stop Audrey, and every time a 6 is rolled, that really helps her a lot.
Yeah,
too.
I mean, yeah, that's backbreaking for Audrey. That's crucial to her game planning.
Mm-hmm. Let's see if Sai has enough what he needs to settle, because I know he's been waiting for that for a while.
Yeah, he just stole a brick. He has 6 in hand.
He's stolen from Anish and Audrey, so...
Yeah, it's looking... I don't know if his plans to settle here, because he's trying to trade for some ore, which to me says not going to settle. He's trying to go for a development card, not able to get it. Another 7.
I could see this going to the 9 ore, probably.
Yeah, I don't think it goes to the 8, of course. I think it goes to 9 or the 8 sheep. I would honestly think maybe the 8 sheep, because...
I don't think he put it on his own 8 sheep.
Yeah. Oh yeah, right. Sorry, for some reason I thought Audrey rolled it. Yeah, and I mean, I think 9, and not it could go to the 5.
That's true.
But, yeah, but there he goes.
That makes sense. So hopefully Anish got a rock or an ore that he desperately needs.
Yeah,
we see him end his turn.
Yeah, I mean, at this point in the game, we've had good enough settlements. No one's studied up yet. I think partially that's just been, the robber's been on the 9 quite a bit. And no one's really been trying to build up, has had the ability to build up both the the wheat and the ore. Another 7. Claire, timely for Claire, immediately rolling a 7 right after it's put in her spot. I think she goes down to the 8 sheep or the 6 wheat. Or it could be the 8 wheat. She has a lot of juicy targets to look at.
That is true. She has her pick, actually.
Yeah. I think she is probably recognizing Anish as the strongest target. And yeah, it goes to the 8 sheep, which I think it makes sense. Like the fact that Anish can turn that 8 sheep into whatever he wants when it's rolled is huge.
That's so strong.
Especially when he doesn't have ore and has no access to ore. Audrey can keep him from sitting up, or she can let him city up by taking some wheat for him, which allows her to city up as well.
Agreed. Yeah, it's a shame for Sai, because that's his only eight.
Yeah, yeah. He keeps kind of gets Sai keeps getting hit in the crossfire a bit here.
All right, so we see Sai get he's on 8 cards, which is something could happen here. He did get a wheat, which is important.
Yeah, he's on. Yeah, I mean with 8. I know he was looking for some aura last turn to try to get some development cards. I'm sure some negotiations are going on right now.
Oh yeah, he must be thinking of a trade probably. For his sake, he probably doesn't have a brick, I would guess. Or maybe nobody has a brick.
Yeah, looking through it, I don't think anyone. Actually, I think Sai might have a brick.
Okay,
He
so
did steal a
Sai
brick a few turns ago.
2 sheeps for a wood with a niche.
Could get a settlement there. Oh, use a monopoly to steal all the sheep back. Major cutthroat move coming out of Sai there. Trading away his wheat and immediately stealing, trading away his sheep, immediately stealing all back. A bit of a Catan social no-no, but Sai says, "Screw that. I'm in desperate spots. I need to win." And Sai pulling out all the tricks.
He was able to settle and buy a dev card, which is huge on the turn.
Yeah,
huge for him.
I wonder how Anish is feeling about that one, though.
Anish definitely is upset.
Yeah.
Sure. But Anish does buy a dev card, which is good for him. And we see Audrey cashing in on her 2.
Yeah.
Rolling a wood, which is probably helpful for her. I'd expect her to go towards the 3-1 port. There's not many good spots for her, but...
Oh, there's a 9 for Audrey. Whew.
That's a free card. Yeah, Claire gets a free card now. That's strong.
Yeah, see, she's only have 4 cards in hand, though. But see, it'd be interesting to see if she holds on to her ore or trades it in for something here.
She does have a dev card, which I would expect probably is a knight, but... she could have anything, really.
Yeah, oh man, I'm just thinking about how much Anish is fuming right now. Not only is he being currently blocked off from his 8 sheep, just got played by Sai there.
Sai
oh,
is now...
another 9. Claire is currently sitting on a total of 4 ore.
That puts Sai in the game, because now if he can connect his roads before Claire does, he can take
longest road. He has some really good diverse resource production. It's gonna be really hard to block Sai off here, because we notice like Sai's on a position where he's not really doubled up on any spots except for that 3 wheat, which no one's gonna really block, and he's not really as exposed to the robber. And that's the thing is like Sai's in a position where we kind of talked about earlier. He could really diversify himself and really make it hard for people to kind of stop what he's doing. The biggest thing for him is he's just gonna he needs to get that resource production, which getting that settlement was huge for him, which I think was why he was willing to commit that kind of faux pas and just monopoly everything after he traded it away.
Oh yeah, it was probably worth the dirty monopoly, honestly.
I think at least for in terms of this game, yes. We'll see. We'll see if Anish does some campaigning against Sai in the remainder of the season.
Well, we see that Anish chose to move the knight onto Claire, so maybe he's forgiven Sai. Maybe
or just pragmatism kind of comes through a bit there. Yeah, and I see Audrey getting a development card with her turn. Now she's down 2 development cards. Yeah, definitely. It's interesting. Like with a lot of the development cards players have been purchasing, they definitely could have been saving up for cities. But I think partially the fact that ore production, ore and wheat in tandem has been inconsistent for players. Most players have a lot of one or the other, so no one's really trying to take the long form to look at getting cities. And when you see everyone else buying development cards too, you want to get in on the action. Right now there's no clear winner for the largest army race, so everyone feels like they can do that. And development cards are just a good way to kind of bank resources if you're getting it up to a high number.
Exactly.
We have Claire here. Claire's 8 cards in hand, including 4 ore, unless she had an ore stolen from her.
I don't think anyone will trade with her here because She has 8 cards in hand,
She's
but
looking for a sheep. My guess is she wants a sheep to sell on the 9-4 spot.
maybe, yeah.
It'll
Because
give her
yeah, 'cause
wheat
I guess for
production.
her, she's already getting her 9 ore block, so might as well add another one.
Yeah, I mean, and like the biggest thing for her this whole game has been both wheat production and also avoiding the robber. Now, avoiding the robber, it's hard to do something about that. However, wheat production, that 9 spot does solve it, and the wheat production, and so not only solves her problem with getting a city, but also allows her to buy more development cards, which should help her avoid the robber.
Interesting that Claire cashed in 2 ores for a sheep and a wheat. So she's probably looking to buy a dev card. Otherwise, she could have citied.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking, we know she might not have a brick though.
That's true.
We know she has every other component except for a brick. And
Bricks are
looking
pretty
back,
scarce.
bricks are only entering production when 4s have been rolled, and it's been quite a while since a 4 has been rolled. And so my guess is that Claire right here doesn't have a brick in it. Interesting, she is choosing to stay at 7. A bit of a risk versus say, I know she probably definitely has stuff for the development card in hand. However,
Man.
she's
The
going for a
8,
settlement.
no.
Dude, that is just
Look, Anish is
oh.
on 11 cards. He certainly has to do something big on this.
Maybe city possibility. I'm not sure. The problem is I don't know if he has any ore. I don't know if he has enough to trade in to get 3 ore. He certainly has
He
this 2.
definitely has enough for 1 ore. 1 ore and 2
So
wheat.
if he can't go for a city here, I mean, Anish, there's not really much of a reason for Anish to go for roads or settlements.
You can dev
In all
card.
honesty,
Probably.
so yeah, probably just if he can't get a city here, he probably just goes to buy as many development cards as he can. I mean,
That's
Anish
his strategy.
it's a weird position for him because, as I said, roads and settlements don't do him much good with his positioning. Of course, like they're still nice to build, it's like more points, more resources. However, if he can get a lot of development cards, he can almost certainly get a city. And getting a city for him would be quite huge. And so, Anish, we see him being 2
that.
brick here. Yep, it looks like he's going for a settlement there on that 5.
Road settlement. Okay.
As we said, like, it's a thing where maybe, like, it's not his preferred outcome. He definitely probably prefers development cards and cities. However, that settlement, not only does it give him more sheep production, which we know he loves.
Another victory point there.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I don't think that 2-1 brick port's going to really come into the equation much, though.
Definitely not.
But definitely, it's another development, another victory point, and more sheep production. Which for Niche, like, sheep is huge. Like, even if every time he rolls a 5 now, he gets a free resource, which, prevents him a bit from, like, being quite as exposed and people block off that 8.
Yeah, I agree. So now we see a 9 was rolled. Or not a 9, a 10.
Oh, no, it was a 9. Just
Was that a
honestly,
9?
yeah,
Oh, yeah, you're right.
yeah. Claire has got to be fuming so much. Just like I think the
Yeah.
robber has definitely been on her 9 the majority of the game, which is
So we can
definitely a strong
probably
spot.
deduce that Claire doesn't have a robber, or sorry, a knight as her dev card. Otherwise,
Yeah.
she probably would have moved it off, right?
Yeah, exactly. And
So she could have a victory point there, or a different
yeah,
dev card.
I mean, she could be sitting on Monopoly, which a Monopoly can definitely be really useful for big plays, which is why she's not. Could be a double, could be a road. I don't think that's definitely a very. She wouldn't have a reason to use a road now, so you would probably want to be sitting on it to get a surprise, surprise longest road out.
Right.
I don't think it's a wild card, because if it was a wild card, she definitely would have used it to build a settlement by now.
That is true. Yeah, unless Sai has a road builder card in hand and can build 3 roads in one turn to cut Claire off, I don't think Claire is going to use her road builder right now if she doesn't have that.
Yeah, I don't think Sai really wants to do that.
Oh, look at that! That's huge. Audrey does get Claire off. That's
wow,
big
and Claire's been
Claire.
trying to build that settlement for so many rotations, hasn't been able to get that break, and Claire
must be
with a
fuming right now.
huge play for herself. Not only does it hurt, and this is really starting to turn into like a true, maybe not
True
4-horse race, and I think Anish still has a bit of an advantage here. I think that that settlement helps him quite a lot. But
I think this is
Audrey
where
right
Claire-
here, 4 settlements at 9-4.
She
as I
did
said,
have a knight. Wow, and she
Wow.
chose not to move it before. That's interesting.
it is an interesting choice. I
will
think
say-
definitely using it here is strong. Don't get me wrong.
Absolutely.
But
I will
yeah.
say Claire probably is no longer the top threat. I think she's fallen down to maybe second or third
Yeah,
now.
I would think it's Audrey or Anish. I mean, Anish has, of course, more
Yeah.
victory points, but Audrey right here is a bit sneaky because she doesn't have really much production she doesn't have any production of ore, as I said. However, her wheat production,
It's
every
so
single
strong.
a 9 or a 6 is rolled. That's any resource she wants. She's also on the 8 up there, and she hasn't been really been hit with the robber much.
You know what's interesting? Looking at this board, Audrey, Anish, and Claire all monopolize sheep, wheat, and ore, and they have the ports for it,
Yeah,
respectively.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it
It's
just
like
depends what rolls.
yeah, exactly, and you know, and where the robbers placed, honestly.
Hmm.
But we see, oh, man, Claire. I had a feeling Claire probably had enough for a settlement on this turn. Audrey with a very timely road settlement.
Yeah, that was huge.
We
It
see her
looks
building
like
roads.
Claire's
Look
looking
like
to
she's trying to connect the roads, go for a longest road play. And she did have 11 cards in hand, so she built, banks a lot of them, builds a road, gets a development
positive
card.
card. Absolutely. And we see the 4 get rolled.
Wow, everyone getting brick. Literally every single player gets 1 brick when a 4 is rolled.
That would help Claire connect too. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, Claire's in a position right now where she's
She doesn't need
really
to.
like she jumped off to a very strong early position, got hit with the robber really hard, and she kind of stalled out a bit. And now a lot of her best opportunities have been taken by other players.
Yeah, that's a strategy in Catan, maybe laying low sometimes until the middle of the game so that you're not hurt too early on.
Yeah, or at least trying to make yourself not attractive to the robber.
Right. And we see Sai offer a ore for a brick and Audrey accepts.
Interesting.
So maybe he could build 2 roads here. Maybe steal
Yeah.
the longest road from Claire for the time being.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm thinking like in terms of where his expansion lies, he might also go for that 3-1 port.
Oh, look at that.
There it is. I wonder if he can build a settlement. No. Yeah, he has 8 cards in hand still. Bought 2. Yeah, he used. Well, Sai. Whew, all right, we
Wow.
got to break down that chart. That was a lot. So Sai
That was a big
uses
turn.
a 2 road development card, which we thought he might have. Builds a road both trying to connect right there, but also to set himself up for that settlement there. And I said Sai. Dark
That's
horse
interesting.
candidate. That's a great play for him. He has access to a 3-4 port now, which gives him some nice flexibility. I said he's pretty diversified. I don't really think he's attractive to blocks, even on the things he's doubled up on. He's on a wide variety of numbers, and he's he does have a bit of inefficiency in his road placements, but puts on 1 more road and he has longest road.
And that actually means that he could have cut off Claire's longest road if he wanted to.
He could have, and
Not to.
I think
It's probably smarter not to,
yeah.
honestly. Because that 3-1 port is definitely better.
Yeah, it is an interesting thought though, because Claire's really his only competition for longest road right here.
Right. Oh my God. And so Audrey decides to use the last monopoly and steal all the wheat.
City.
City up. Maybe we might be seeing our first city of the game.
And she has all the wheat. She just took. Yep, there it is.
There we go. First
And
city.
the first city,
Audrey
I think it's
commands the leading spot.
definitely good placement for her. Yes, like it's interesting that she chose to put the city there versus her 8-5-10 spot. 8-5-10 does produce more resources. However, I think she's at the point where wheat is so strong for her. She wants to emphasize the wheat. Also, I think she maybe thinks that that 8 wheat spot is going to be really attractive to robbers. However,
Right.
she does expose herself a bit to getting robbed on the 6 right now. However, if a 9's roll now, she gets 3.
Absolutely. And another strong part about that 9 wheat is it's a triple shared wheat. So it's likely not going to be Robert unless Anish decides to put it there. So I think it was a good choice
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah, I said I think going to 8-5-10 up there. I think if she's expecting she's gonna get robbed, I think for her that's if she put the city on the 8 would be robbed. If she put the city on the 6 would be robbed. So she can't really escape looking attractive to a robber. But by placing it there, she does emphasize that 9 a bit more. And I said 9 gets rolled. That's 1.5 any resource she wants.
We see Claire use her second knight, getting closer to the largest army,
Yeah.
putting it on Audrey's 6, but Sai rolls a 7. So he
But
will
moves it to 9. That's still good for Claire.
even though that stops his own wheat production, I think that was a smart play from him. He still gets the 3 wheat and 3-for-1 port. So Audrey is definitely looking strong right now.
Yeah, and maybe might be hard, a little hard to think about, but Honestly, a big winner from that city, Anish.
You think so? Oh yeah, he no longer gets stopped.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like we just see two straight robbers be targeted against Audrey, and even if Audrey doesn't maintain the top place in this game, the fact that those 9s and 6s are so productive for her. Anish now looking like his 8s not as blocked as much. And if we start seeing some more 8s, Anish could quickly form a city or two. And then the only problem for Anish though is Anish doesn't have a particularly strong play on longest road or largest army at the moment.
No, and what's interesting is I don't think Claire's out of this game just yet. If
Yeah,
she can connect her roads, get longest road, she's already the closest one to army.
that's 4.
Um,
Yeah,
she's really, and then she just needs to city a few times, and maybe she has a victory point in hand. She could do this.
yeah,
It's still the dream is still alive for Claire, even though she got hit hard just recently.
yeah. We see Sai getting largest road right there.
You know, that
I
was
think it
smart
makes
for
yeah,
him.
yeah. I think he could have connected his road, but there's not really a big urgency to connect his road. By putting a road there, he can possibly build on that 4 brick as well for another settlement, which gives him more expansion opportunity, and he can always connect that one later for a nice little burst if Claire takes largest road.
Absolutely. So we see a niche trade in 2 bricks for an ore. Interesting.
All right, Audrey.
Audrey
See,
uses her
using
first
the
night.
blocking off the date. Good move for her.
That was but she steals from Sai though.
Interesting. She must have a particular resource she wants from him.
Right, right. And an 8 was rolled, which was a smart play. So that
Yeah,
8
this
was blocked.
Audrey using that crystal ball to look into the future.
And Audrey gets 2 woods.
That's what it's a bit of a niche case, but she'll take it.
Yeah, so Audrey just got 3 woods from the past 2 turns. I don't know if she'll need it much, but it's certainly good as a bargaining chip, or maybe trade in.
Yeah, I mean, she could just do a 4-for-1, which always a bit of feels bad when you have to do a 4-for-1.
Right.
But
It might be her only option here.
yeah,
You think Audrey settles anywhere else?
I mean, she definitely has settle opportunities. I mean, she could go. I don't know if she wants to go harder on that 6 though.
Probably not.
Like,
But also, you don't know.
yeah, I mean, it would make it so every time a 6 is rolled, it's 2 of the resources she wants. Ever like, she just get hit with the robber so much.
You see a niche
She could go.
sitting up right here.
Yeah,
Look at that. And a road. Man, that was a good turn from him.
yeah, great turn. Like the 8's still blocked, but it's like like he's at the point where that 5 and 10 are still really productive for him. He rolls that 5. It's 3 resources. Anish living and dying by the 8s and 5s.
Absolutely. And I wonder what Audrey's doing here. She's building around the desert.
Yeah, I mean, I
She'll
think she
settle
could
there?
be going. She could be going to settle there. She could be going to settle on that port, which blocks off Anish from settling there as well.
That could be the case.
It's interesting because she definitely has she could build that 2 sheep. She can go down and build in 6 wheat. Go down, and we see Claire getting her 4th settlement in a pretty good spot.
Finally.
And taking the longest road, going up to 6 victory points.
6 victory points. She's definitely back in the game.
Yeah, I mean for sure. And she builds, puts in her arm and her soldier down, gets the largest army.
An 8.
And a 9. Claire,
That's
that's
what she
huge
needed.
for her.
If she can city right here and hopefully army, she's really close to winning.
Yeah, some significant things to point out too. Anish, got a 5, so we know Anish is sitting on at least 5 sheep. Claire sitting on at least 3 ore, and Audrey sitting on at least 3 wheat. All of them with their 2-for-1 ports sitting on massive stockpiles, and we see Sai with the
sitting
city.
up as well.
I think that's a great city placement.
Absolutely.
Oh, boom!
It pays off.
It pays off for him. Like, dude, Audrey has 6 wheat in hand.
Niche getting at
Dude,
settlement.
things are starting to heat up here.
We're definitely, and the brick that maybe everyone needed.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's like going back, back to Sai's placement. Good placement, productive spot, not likely to get robbed. Gets him a lot more ore, which I think is huge for him. However, right here, I can't wait to see what Audrey does on this turn. 6 wheat in hand, along with 5 other cards. We don't know what those 5 other. We say, I
Oh
think it's
my
another
God.
city.
Probably
I'll
on
do 8-5-10.
8-5-10.
There we go. Yeah, Audrey. She's not really in. She's in. What is she doing here? I think she's trying to go for a large road here. Then
Maybe, but yeah, it looks like she doesn't really have any need
she
for
does.
the
She does have some
wood
good
brick.
wood production.
That is
Her
true.
brick production is just as good as everyone else but Psy. It could be a
If I
quiet
was her, I
fight
would
for
have
largest
settled.
road.
I would have
Yeah.
settled on the 3 wood probably.
Yeah, I don't know if she needs a lot more wood. She could have built up to, and it's one of those things where I think for her, she can do that at any moment. I think right now she's just thinking about road, especially because Anish built that that settlement already. You know,
Right.
it's looking like quite an interesting game right now. Just kind of what we signed up for with this matchup. But
Absolutely. It's a great way to kick off the
and
season.
Claire with currently I believe sitting on 6 ore.
All right, I will hop over really quick to use the bathroom, but I'll be back.
Yep. We got Claire sitting on 6 wood here, trading 4 for 2 wheat. I think we got another city. Yes, a city on the 6 and 9. Oh my god, dude. All right. This game followed a kind of interesting pattern. We're a bit low in the middle, but things are really starting to heat up now. We got Claire at 7 victory points. Could go to 9. Oh man. I would say right now, like Claire's definitely threatening to win this game. 100% with that city. She got so much ore on 9s and 6s. So much freaking ore. She gets a lot on the wood 5. For her, the biggest thing is, can she get a development card, and can she get largest army? It's one of those things where like as long as she going on largest road, which she's got a pretty sizable lead. Even if Psy connects his roads, he's gonna be at 7. She has a 3 road. All right, sorry.
What did I miss?
Claire citying up on the 9-6-5.
Oh my god.
Huge. Claire's sitting at 7 victory points. Got some nice production now. She has a pretty good advantage in largest road. Even if Psy connects his roads, he's going to be at 7. And she is the closest to largest army. Like Claire
might
right
be the
here.
strong spot right here.
Yeah, I mean, she's at the case now where like the only thing that can really I think stop her from winning is some bad luck.
I think so.
Just because she has the easiest line on both the road and the army, which, as we know, is really hard to win. Like Anish, for example, Anish is at 7 victory points. He's tied with Claire. However, and the 7 victory points do come from a lot of production. However, he doesn't have a line on largest army or largest road. And Claire with this 9 freaking ore.
That's
2 of anything she wants.
This game might be over next. Maybe not next turn, but it could be over soon.
I mean, all she has to do is, if I'm Claire, I'm just pounding those development cards.
Me too. She could fish for a victory point and
Victory
a
point
knight,
and a knight, and that's game.
That's game.
All right, Audrey rolling 7 here.
You got to put it on the ore.
I think on the 9, yeah, the 9 ore. Like Claire's
Yeah.
starting so much. That 9 is so much work for her.
Because every time it's rolled, she gets 4 ore, and that's insane.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like like everyone other strong positions on the board. Psy's in a pretty good position, but Psy doesn't really have the bursty potential to win the game here. Anish and Audrey have a bit more of that bursty potential. However, they don't have good lines on largest army or largest road. And we see her putting it to 9 ore, smart move. Probably stolen ore from Claire.
Which is crucial.
We see her trade in 4 wheat for 2 ore. I think now. I would say Audrey's sitting on 3 ore and just needs some wheats to form another city.
I think so.
Which, if she can form a city and Claire isn't really able to progress her board state much in this turn, Audrey could leapfrog into the top place.
This is the point in the game when the other players like Audrey and Anish should try to trade Psy some roads because they should want him to take it away from Claire.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's at the point where it just clears Psy needs to put down 4 roads. Audrey needs to put down 5 roads to take largest roads from Claire. Assuming Claire makes no roads whatsoever.
Right.
Oh,
and
there was a lot of 4s.
Psy got the bricks that he needed, and
he's at 9 in hand, 2 development cards.
We should point out though that Claire did buy a development card on her last turn, which is it could be a victory point, a knight.
If I'm Claire, Claire definitely hopes it's a knight. Because it's
Absolutely.
a knight, Boom. At 9, all she needs is to buy a development card, get a victory point, make a settlement, game over.
Yeah, and it's probably in her best interest not to play it right now until she knows that she has the win in hand.
Yeah.
Otherwise, she'll be targeted relentlessly, even if she's not already.
Yeah. I think if you're watching this game too, at this point in the game, the big headline is Claire intimidating. Coming off a championship last season, where honestly, championship a bit of a dark horse candidate, coming in as I think I was an 8th seed in the tournament. Definitely, I think the lowest seed in the championship, wins that game, comes in this one, comes in both with a target on her back from her positioning in this game and her position last season, targeted perhaps the most with the robber, and still in an excellent position to win this game.
Absolutely. And, I can't really tell who second place is. Anish could be on 8 points right here. He could be hiding a victory point, but I don't think he has enough to win it before Claire. I don't know.
Yeah, unless Claire gets unlucky with what that development card is and gets unlucky with her rolls, the 9 on the ore is huge. It does help quite a lot for Claire's opponents.
So we see Sai trade 3 for 1 brick to ore. That could be a dev card right now, or a city, both of which would help him.
Yeah, he still has 2 development cards in hand.
He's got to do something on this turn, if possible. So he builds a road and ends his turn. He probably doesn't have enough for a city. Well, he definitely does now.
Well, I would say Audrey, enough for a city in hand, for a fact.
Sitting on 10 cards.
Claire and Sai both gain lots of ore there, which is kind of scary.
It's scary that Claire got her ore. Yeah, she could really win on this next turn.
Yeah, very, very foreseeable that she could win on her next turn.
She can city, and that last dev card is a knight. I think Claire is 1.
Yeah, and she doesn't need it. Yeah, and she can even just buy another development card and hit a victory point.
That is also true. Yeah, if she can fish for a victory point, you never know.
Nisha's in a position. Nisha doesn't have a lot of options here. Only 4 cards in hand. Probably trying to do some negotiations, I would think.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And this is where I might think, if I was Sai, should I have cut off Claire's road, with my road builder? Because he certainly could have.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier. Because it's like it definitely was his biggest competition for road. If you cut her off there, I mean, you're taking her off at least. You're taking her off 4 roads essentially, or 3 roads at least.
Yeah, and he could have done it with the road builder, but he chose not to, which could help him as well. We'll see.
Yeah, and it can be a really tough tightrope to walk in a game of Catan.
Offering 2 roads for a dev card, likely to side.
Oh, he does it. He does it with Audrey. Audrey, in hand, might have Audrey, if she doesn't roll a 7 here, has 2 roads in hand, possibly also has a city in hand.
Right. And,
it's
possible.
9!
Oh, my God.
All right. I would say Claire wins on her turn, I think.
Audrey has to take longest road now, otherwise Claire wins.
I mean, she needs 3 more roads. 2 more roads.
I think she can do it. Maybe.
Development card.
Interesting.
And not a... All right. Well, she can't use the development card this turn, though.
She still has 7 points, though. She's not done on this turn.
Could be going for second place, too.
It's also true.
It's interesting because she definitely had a city in hand. And I don't know if she still has that city in hand. Yeah, she definitely traded away that city, so she's going for roads here.
1 more road. Maybe 2 more.
2. Yeah, she needs 1 more road to take it from Claire here. If she has that, that would be huge to stopping Claire from winning this turn. No, Claire.
This might
not
be over.
Stopped off. Let's see if that development card is a soldier. This could be the game. Man, the tension.
We just gotta wait and see. The tension.
Yeah, I don't think it's a win because I think if she had the win in hand, she would have done it.
She definitely cements her longer road by putting 1 more down.
Yeah. Let's see. Maintaining that lead is pretty big because your opponent has to overcome it.
She's certainly not getting any trades.
Yeah. 8 cards in hand, including a lot of ore.
If Claire doesn't win on this turn, I'm interested to see what the other players do.
If I'm Claire, I maybe even you could go for development cards. Maybe I even go for a city here.
Another
Because
settlement.
I wouldn't like I wouldn't say if I'm her, I'm not super threatened with anyone winning on their next turn.
That is
Like,
true. And see, Anish could take army. That's the thing. If she doesn't win right now, Anish could take army, on
yeah.
the next turn,
Wow, we
which
see her
is big.
getting our settlement. Okay.
So she,
She
yeah, so
definitely doesn't have.
not a
Ugh,
knight, or she would have
she
played
could have
it.
a victory point. She could be one victory point away from winning. Like,
Absolutely. And if Anish has a knight, this is the time to play it.
I mean, if Anish has a knight in hand, he goes up to 9. All right. And okay, Anish getting huge resources out of that roll. Huge resources. Sai building a city. Sai's in a position where if
The dark horse it's still alive.
yes, he's only at 6 victory points though, but he could still make a play on largest army if no one else does. He has 9 points, 9 cards in hand. Trying to give away a lot of sheep for ore. If I'm Anish, I take that, but Anish probably doesn't have ore.
That's true. Anish certainly would have done that trade.
Another city.
That's a city twice though. That's strong.
Yeah, I
You know,
mean,
Sai,
yeah, it definitely helps him if no one wins on this turn. Oh, a niche of so many sheep in hand. If that's a knight in hand, it could win on this turn.
he could really win right here. That might be a win.
All right, no, he's at 8. I don't think it's a win.
The
There it
win.
is.
Wow,
Wow.
what a game.
At the end of it, like we
That
say,
goal was
it all ended up coming down to who can get that knight. A niche overcoming quite a lot of robbing, believing in the powers of the 8s and the 5s. I'm curious. So we're looking at this. So the final standings that we have is we have victory points for both Claire and Sai. So we have Anish first, Claire second, Sai third, Audrey coming in fourth. And looking at the dice stats, honestly, a pretty even distribution. In fact, the only dice that really outperformed was a 9s, interestingly enough. However, the 9s were blocked quite a lot of the game for Claire, so it was honestly quite an even, or at least more expected distribution of dice rolls. And if it's other, let's see. It's very interesting looking at the dice rolls because actually Audrey had the most resource income, which typically the resource income tends to be strongly correlated with winning or the strong performance in the game.
Yeah.
Audrey with 13 more resources than anyone else in the game, quite a lot, and coming in last place.
That is certainly a tough start. She was in the whole game. She was still in it.
And it was just one of those things where I think it was just, for her, the inability to really build a strong case for,
Settlement spots.
Settlements, and also just never really had to play for largest army. Tried to make a late play for largest road, but started it a bit too late.
I think she was 1 away. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, we
Man.
see Claire got robbed 7 times, and Anish 4 times. Wow, that final game.
What a game.
Coming to a nice edge at the end of it, but man, a great start to the season. I must say, I think this is gonna be a good one. I'm looking forward to playing my own match this week. I know I'm a bit rusty. I don't know about you.
Me too. I got mine tonight, actually.
Oh, good luck with that one.
Thank you. We'll see. I'm certainly very rusty.
Yeah, I might have to play a bot match or two to remember how to play this game. I think with that, we'll sign off, end the stream. Look forward to seeing you guys next time.
Alrighty.